So I recently saw the latest Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, Mutant Mayhem, and I will have to say I was not disappointed at all. I actually had a fun time watching this movie. Really enjoyed it because this movie was so much fun. This movie brought so many childhood memories. And this movie actually respects the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the whole franchise, the IP, just everything about it. And it was able to bring out fresh ideas and actually new characters. Now, I grew up on the 03 versions of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And that's the version like I recognize, and that's the one that's in my childhood. And of course, I watched the 2012, and then I also watched the Rise of TMNT. But the 03 one is going to be a special place in my heart. And I did like how each versions of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, they always added new characters and they always change up the turtles and their characteristics. And this movie actually did it well. Because one of the main things about this Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movies is that these turtles are actual teenagers. These teens, when I see them, I keep thinking that they're either 12 or 13, which is kind of funny because in the movie, they kind of stated that the whole incident with the ooze falling in the sewer and stuff happened 15 years ago. But every time when I see these turtles, they kind of look like they're either 12 or 11 or 13 because just how they look. So, and how they act as well. And one of the huge plus about these turtles is that they're not annoying at all. Even though they have actual teenagers doing the voice and they act like teenagers, they're not annoying. They're very lovable, they're very funny, they're very charismatic, and they're actually very relatable. And that's something that you actually appreciate, especially throughout this whole movie, that there's certain situations that they actually do like act like teenagers and that you would think like, yeah, that's how a teenager would do, that's how a teenager would think, and that's how a teenager would probably get away from this whole situation. And it's just very actually good. And there is a post-credit scene towards the end of the movie which builds up for the sequel that is happening. And it's already been in the news that they already are in the writing spot of writing the script for part two of this movie. And they actually have a target date. But this review is going to have some minor spoilers. So I just want to just give you guys a heads up. So if you guys want to stay here and just continue on watching, then you have been warned. So, with the rest of the movie, Ice Cube as Superfly, he did a fantastic job. And I actually did like his introduction when he actually was introduced in front of the turtles because when he was actually meet the turtles for the first time, they were actually playing the song Gucci Man, Bruno Mars and Kodak Black's, Stay Fly. And then he just actually appears. And I really thought it was funny because his name is Superfly and he's a giant fly. And so, of course, Ice Cube, he did a fantastic job. He was actually mean. He was actually very much of a bad guy S. And every time when you just close your eyes, you can just picture, yeah, this is Ice Cube. Like Ice Cube is here just beating the hell out of me. And you can just enjoy Ice Cube performance because he was just very funny and he just pretty much just knocked it out of the park. One person I was very surprised with their voice acting skills was Paul Rudd because he played as the Deco, and I didn't even know that was him. I thought it was someone else, and then so when I saw the credit and it was him, I was like, "Really?" I was just like, "Wow, I did not know." But Jackie Chan, he did a phenomenal job as well. And yes, Splinter had his moment to shine because he was able to save his boys when they actually got kidnapped by these scientists because these scientists, they wanted to know the formula for Dr. Stockman because Dr. Stockman, he actually made the mutagen to actually make the mutant animals. So the scientist, she really wants Dr. Stockman's work, so she goes on ahead and steals it. But then Superfly steals some of her equipment, so she's trying to catch Superfly. But then she ends up catching the turtles, and then she ends up milking the turtles because she wants their blood because they're full of like mutagen blood, whatever, or the ooze. So of course she's so fascinated with it. So Splinter comes in and free the boys, and he actually was able to showcase how he is a person not to mess with because he was actually molly whopping every single security. And Jackie Chan as Splinter, was phenomenal because he plays Splinter like a person who really cares for his son, and that he has his goofy dad moments, but then he also have his seriousness and very compassionate. So he was like kind of like every embodiment of Splinter, but I feel like he was just more goofy with it. So, but the other characters as well, like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like Leonardo, he has a love interest with April, which was very interesting. Raph, he's not that much of a hothead, but he is like having like anger issues. Donnie, he's very much smart, and I really do like how they kind of like made his character not less annoying or not like someone who is just very much like a weakling, but also to Michelangelo, like he's not really much of a goofball. There are certain moments where he is like a goofball and like a clown, but it's not very annoying. It's just like just a perfect timing. So it's just really interesting to see like how they're able to, refresh these characters and make them be more interesting throughout these whole entire years. Now when it comes down to the animation was so beautiful and it was so very unique. And that's something that I really appreciate, especially to like the outlines or like the scratches or like even the explosion. It looks like a little kid drew it. And it was very funny. And how certain people they look more mutant than the actual Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or the other mutant animals. So it was just really interesting. So I really do like the art style and how the new format is. The soundtrack, they're bangers. I actually enjoy it. It makes you feel like you're in New York, but it also too it makes you feel like very much of a 90s. And they actually showcased like the Vanilla Ice Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle song at one scene. Now, when it comes down to the comedy, it was a very funny. I laughed throughout this movie and I just enjoyed the humor and actually the clever jokes that they were able to throw out. And so I was just really find it very interesting. And April was really enjoyable as well. She was a character who just pretty much just wanted people to stop calling her puke girl, and she wanted to be a serious reporter. And I do like how the fact like they take it where they're actually like in high school. So let's go to the theory because Dr. Stockman, I really do feel like he's actually alive and that he's going to be revealed that he survived the explosion in part two. And then I also believe that the lady who hired Shredder, because in the post credit she hired Shredder to go after the mutant turtles, is an Utron because it even showcasing her name in the posters and her last name is Utron. And of course she just seems very more ecstatic on like how to like demutinize these mutant animals and stuff. So it just showcased like, yeah, this part two is going to be extra crazy, and I feel like this is going to be like a trilogy. And if it is a trilogy, I really do feel like the trilogy for part three, we're going to be focusing more on her, how she's going to be like the next big bad villain, because in part two it's going to be focusing on Shredder. But those are my theories and thoughts about this movie. I really give this movie a B plus, and I have to give this rating an 80. I really enjoyed this movie, and you guys should go ahead and check it out. But let me know down in the comment section how you guys feel about this movie. If you liked it, if you dislike it, let me know down in your theories on what's going to happen in the sequel. And if you guys do like the video, please give it a like, subscribe, and remember, always be decent. This is the Monotone Man, and hope you guys have a wonderful day and be safe out here. Peace.